Okay, let's learn a little bit about the 3 weeks. We didn't learn about it. We should have learned about it a little bit before. Anyway, 5 terrible things happened Shavuos b'Tammuz. I'm not getting into those details. Now, it's very interesting. By the Ashkenazim, we have what's called the 3 weeks, the 9 days, and then we have Tisha B'Av. That is basically the mourning over the Churban, over the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. It's actually Avelus. But these 3 eras of 3 weeks, 9 days, Tisha B'Av, is similar to what, God forbid, if somebody loses a parent, you have Shiva, you have Shleishim, and you have the year. So Tisha B'Av itself has the same dinim, and more or less, the same dinim as Shiva. The 9 days basically have a similar din to the dinim of Shleishim. And the year basically has a similar dinim to what we call 3 weeks. Now the Gemara, and when the Gemara speaks about the dinim, the Gemara speaks about the week, these laws of Avelus, the only thing the Gemara talks about is what's called Shvur Shechol Bei Tisha B'Av, the week of Tisha B'Av. It doesn't speak about the 3 weeks, it doesn't speak about the 9 days. That is later on, the Ashkenazi Sheposkim, the Ramah brings it down before the Ramah, that there's a customary start from the 3 weeks and the 9 days, and not only the week of Tisha B'Av. Now this year, which is very uncommon by the way, that Shavuos b'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av itself fall out on Sunday. Most of the years, it's Shabbos, Shavuos b'Tammuz, and it's pushed off to Sunday. I think the last time it happened like this was something like 20 years ago. Something close to 20 years ago, that Shavuos b'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, because it's the same time when Erev Pesach falls out on Shabbos. If Erev Pesach falls out on Shabbos, then Shavuos b'Tammuz is Sunday. It's very simple.
9 years. 9 years ago such a thing happened. 9 years ago, Shavuos b'Tammuz was on Shabbat and it happened.
I'm saying this falls out on Sunday. No, not Shabbat. This happens often. But now that's actually Sunday. And I'll tell you what the big difference. According to, when Tisha B'Av is Sunday, like this year, then there's basically, halachically, no week of Tisha B'Av. Because Tisha B'Av is Sunday. So there's no week of Tisha B'Av. We have the 9 days anyway, the Ashkenazim. But when Tisha B'Av would fall out on Shabbos and it's pushed off to Sunday, so then there's a machlekes. No, there's a machlekes in halacha. Many poskim hold you have a whole week before Shvur Shechol Bei Tisha B'Av, and some poskim say no, the fast is pushed off to Sunday, so there is no Shvur Shechol Bei Tisha B'Av. But this year, according to all opinions, there is no concept of Shvur Shechol Bei Tisha B'Av. Now to discuss a little bit some of the dinim of what's, and again, by the Sfardim, they don't have these dinim necessarily. By them, it's primarily Shvur Shechol Bei Tisha B'Av, even though many Sephardic poskim write that nowadays they are strict a little bit with the 3 weeks, not as strict as Ashkenazim, as the 3 weeks and so on. So basically the din of the 3 weeks, the practical thing for Ashkenazim at least is, you don't get married, you don't take haircuts, you don't make a shachiyanu, that means you don't buy expensive clothing or take a new fruit that you would have to make a shachiyanu on. Some people have a rumor, it's like, some things in halacha, it's interesting. There's what people say, and halacha says there's no such thing. There are people that say that if you didn't go swimming before Shavuos b'Tammuz, then you can't swim during the 3 weeks. Which is, halacha says a total shtus. Okay? Now, it's interesting, on Shavuos b'Tammuz itself, like today, the question is, should somebody go swimming or not go swimming? So many poskim write that when Shavuos b'Tammuz itself, you should do like the laws of the 9 days. Kids could swim, they write, but adults it's too late now. So adults should refrain from swimming or doing laundry, things like that basically that you don't do during the 9 days. Now generally speaking, also another thing of the 3 weeks, no music, even recorded music, even there are many Chassidic world and more makel on it, but like many poskim write even a cappella, which is people singing, but it sounds like instruments. But that the Chassidish world is more lenient on that. They do listen to a cappella during the 3 weeks. Not during the 9 days, but during the 3 weeks. So therefore, now you didn't get married, you don't have, you can make a bar mitzvah without music. You can, things like that. Singing is not a problem. You're allowed to do, Shechianu we don't make, and our custom is not even on Shabbos. Sfiras Ha'omer, I mentioned this in the past, it's very interesting. In Chabad it was always, because the Rebbe writes clearly about the 3 weeks, we don't make a Shechianu even on Shabbos. So everybody for many years thought the same thing applies during Sfiras Ha'omer. But later there was Yechidus, the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said clearly that we do make Shechianu and Sfira, and only in Sfira on Shabbos, but not during the 3 weeks. So, but you can cut nails, you can make shidduchim, you can make parties, you cannot, but you can't have music. Again, this is all Ashkenazi, that you can't have music. Is generally not a mazel dika time, the 3 weeks. So it says people should try avoiding going into a new house, or, haircuts. We say you can't take haircuts during the 3 weeks, all 3 weeks. I don't know why, because it's, I can tell you why, melamed chus on them. There are opinions that say that the laws of the 3 weeks don't begin from last night, they begin from this morning. There are such poskim. Majority of poskim disagree, and we definitely, the Chabad, the poskim hold that all the dinim of the 3 weeks began last night already. Okay, so as soon as, in fact, some people say even Bein HaShmoshes, the dinim of the 3 weeks begin. But yesterday anyway was Shabbos. So no haircuts, even people, even kids going to camp with long hair, and they're not going to be able to take haircuts for another month or two, sorry. If you're Ashkenazi, you can't take a haircut during the 3 weeks. Even last night it began not to take any haircuts. Women could cut their hair for tznius purposes or for mikveh purposes, or they can, shave their legs and things like that they could do. Cutting nails is allowed during the 3 weeks. Generally, a person should not do dangerous, people should not do dangerous things during the 3 weeks. It's not a mazel dika time. You should try avoiding going like water rafting or anything wild. People shouldn't be doing. If somebody needs, let's say, God forbid, a surgery, so if they don't have to do it, if they can avoid it, it's just not a mazel dika time because it's a terrible thing. It says teachers, this doesn't apply today anyway, for a lot of reasons. But years ago when teachers used to hit the students, that's why they grew up normal, but it says you shouldn't hit the students during the 3 weeks, because again, you might, God forbid, hit them and might get terrible thing. Kids shouldn't be playing with wild things, with wild things that can cause danger to them. You have to mourn over these periods of time. It's a good time to do extra tzedakah, do extra tshuva. That's basic. If people should also, because Tisha B'Av, you need non-leather shoes. You need non-leather shoes in Tisha B'Av. So they write that if you know you need them, you should buy them now, not during the 9 days. Even though there is a tshuva that Rabbi Feinstein holds that if you didn't buy them before the 9 days, you could buy non-leather shoes for Tisha B'Av that you need during the 9 days. But it's basically better not to do it. That's in a nutshell the din of the 9 days. There's a lot of books written on a lot of it, but that's basically in a nutshell the practical thing.
Rather, if you want to travel, as long as you started beforehand, it's okay?
If you want to travel, B'chlal, today, even the main thing about traveling is in 9 days, by the way, even though it says you should avoid traveling during the 3 weeks. But today they're much more makel in traveling because it's not dangerous like it used to be in the olden times. Traveling was pushing the danger, you walk through the woods and it wasn't, they went with boats over the ocean that were not today's ocean liners, So but today they're more makel in traveling, especially if somebody's going for a specific reason. I'll give you a simple example. Most of the overnight camps have 1 month and 1 month, and the kids go home after 1 month, they go for the second month. It's all in the middle of the 9 days. That's when the camps switch, because that's how it works out. So now, can a kid go home? Can a kid go? If a kid wants to visit their parents, and that's the time it works out, to doing mitzvah kibbut avim. Generally speaking, people should try to avoid it, but if that's the only time they can go, but they shouldn't do wild things. You want to go on a trip, they can go, they shouldn't be doing wild things, because...
A roller coaster is considered wild or no more?
Depends who you ask. Some people never went on roller coasters. Sometimes you drive in a car, it's a roller coaster. Or whatever it is.
Depends on the kid.
How about signing contract and stuff like that?
Again, signing contracts, if somebody could avoid, it's not a mazel dik time. The 9 days definitely is not a mazel from the 9 days from Rosh Chodesh Av. That the Gemara says, Mishenichtav av matim b'simcha. And it says in the Gemara, if you have a court case with a guy, you should try to push it off at least until after Tisha B'Av. If possible, you should push it off the whole month. But if not, at least after Tisha B'Av. But again, it's not a mazel dik time, that's all. Machashin is not my from my kim shivalag out tato. Kanan Kashim Erot,